Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show, our Monday night roundup around the West Yorkshire region and beyond. I'm Chris Bell, and delighted to say I am joined by pretty much a full house in Stephen Downs, Gareth Walker, Lewis Sale, and Dave Foy. How are we, gents? Are we well?
All good.
All good, mate. You?
Yeah, very well, very well. We will hopefully be joined by either Brownie or Jay a little bit later on to talk Leeds United. But they're busy in short term, so we'll find out in due course. Let's start with you, Lou, because the kind of story that kind of came out of nowhere, even though it was doing the rumours over the course of the weekend, is in the non-league scene for us, really. And Farsley Celtic and Nathan Atkinson, who's, of course, a cracking journalist for the Telegraph and Argus, put out an article this afternoon, or at lunchtime, I think it might have been, basically saying that Farsley Celtic manager Neil Redfern had resigned. He quit, he'd walked away. But Farsley, at least at that stage, haven't put anything out to say that.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean,
No,
it's
not
another
yet.
day. It's another story in the world of Farsley Celtic at the moment, isn't it? We keep saying it every week that, what you think might happen, potentially might not always happen. And yes, we're now in a situation where apparently Neil Redfern is confirmed to the local media that he's left the club as of Thursday. I kind of heard about this on Friday, Saturday. And I obviously wasn't there at the Farsley game. Apparently, he wasn't there. Obviously, now finding out he's left the club as of Thursday. And to be honest, it was one of those dates when I'd metaphorically circled and was, getting ready to see the pictures of the spades in the ground at the Farsley pitch because it's due to start week commencing the 10th, which is this week. I'm not saying it's going to be today, but you thought, could that possibly happen? But instead, we're now hearing that Neil Redfern has left the club after 20 days in charge. And I'll be honest, I was looking, listen, I've done a hard day's work and I've come home and tried to do some digging on this. I think one of the shortest managerial reigns was Leroy Rossini at Torquay for about 10 minutes. And then you kind of, you're looking down the rest of the list. And Neil Redfern has 20 days. He's definitely up there, maybe in the top three. But Les Reed at Charlton for 41 days. So yeah, Neil Redfern might just sit right in the middle of them both. But I mean, honestly, I have no idea what's going on. Again, we've kept saying on this show, haven't we, that with open invite is there for the Farsley representatives to come and join us on the show. But it's fair to say, chaps, social media is on fire about Farsley Celtic at the moment.
Oh, isn't it just? Yeah, I mean, let's start with the article from Nathan Atkinson then. I'll say it went out. I was just looking to see what the time. 9 hours ago is when it went out. So you're talking 10 o'clock ish this morning, 11 o'clock this morning, and apparently in the article he says the TNA received several messages from supporters this morning, telling us that neither Neil Redfern nor his assistant Pav Singh, of course Pav who left for a week then came back as the assistant. Neither of them were at the game over the weekend, in which they lost 6-1 against Eden Market at, of course, Buxton. And the team was instead led by the women's manager, Izzy Rhodes, and youth coach, Phil Lake.
What's going on?
What the actual chuff? I mean...
I don't know. I'm kind of speechless with it because the thing is, obviously... We don't know the full facts, so let's be honest. Outside looking in, it isn't great, is it? Let's be honest about this, because we haven't had a pitch to play on at home.
It couldn't look much worse.
And I think this is where let's take an objective look at this. We haven't had a pitch to play on at home at the Citadel for quite a while now. Apparently, the work was going to start this week. Still possibly could do, and is due to finish towards the end of March. Let's see what happens about that. Obviously, we can only take the word for it. Let's see what happens. They appointed, obviously, Neil Redfern as manager, like I said, 20 days ago, which took all by quite a few of us by surprise. And now they're left with potentially no manager. Obviously, don't know the situation with Pav Singh. And senior players have left his club in the past month or two for their own reasons. It's now getting to the point where actions are definitely going to speak louder than words. we've seen recently the video that we've seen online. One of it,
Well,
obviously, the vlogger that's going around that, and I know you're probably touching that in a little
yeah.
bit. But now we get into the, we're seeing attendances of not even possibly going over 100 potentially for home games. I say home games in Buxton, an hour and 45 minutes away potentially. And the losing at home to, I think at the time, bottom of the league, 6-1 with 3 subs and players, like I say, it seemed to be regularly leaving. In the past week, we've seen Ryan Watson. Obviously, we know he's got personal circumstances. He's announced that he's kind of not going to play for the club for the rest of the season while he just takes some time out to refocus with his family after what he's gone through. But again, another senior player that follows the likes of Chris Atkinson and Ben Atkinson and Hampton Sturridge, and the list goes on and on. Tom Allen.
Yeah.
I could go on for a long time. I just don't know. Generally don't know. And like I say, another day almost feels like a bit of another news day. What's going to come next? Let's wait and see. But what would be nice, I think, from a Farsley Celtic fan perspective now, is a really well constructed and honest statement about what's happening. Because, like I say, the local press have come out with it. They've allegedly spoken to Redfern, who's confirmed he's left, but yet we've heard nothing from the club. And in my time being around this local area, I can't remember when that's happened, where the local press have reported it, and the club still haven't followed up nearly 10 hours on.
Let's be honest, right? They've got no ground. They've got no manager as it stands. They've got no assistant manager as it stands. They've got no volunteers. They've got they've hardly got in terms of, because they're playing Buxton, they've got hardly any supporters. They've got 3 season ticket holders, and they've got a chairman and owner who clearly, obviously, is not prepared to change the status quo. It's not a football club. It's not any type of club. It's just
on the
it's a bit of paper.
On the no assistant thing, there's absolutely nothing to suggest that Palestine has left again. So whilst he wasn't there on Saturday,
the local press.
No, hang on. Whilst he wasn't there on Saturday, there is nothing to say that he's left the club, is what I'm saying. Neil Redfern has resigned, and that's come out, but there is nothing about Palestine doing so. It's important just to make sure that we represent things as we know them. We are not in a position right now where Palestine may have left the club.
Okay, on Saturday, they had no assistant manager.
What I will say is, as regards statement, Lou, I mean, it just be not another one. Like, we've seen numerous statements from Paul Barthorpe. In a weird way, the communication from the club has been there, but it's been so many empty promises that have been failed to be backed up with actual, as you say, actions. That's the situation we're in now. And look, there'll be Farsley fans in Farsley that I would not be surprised if they will be taking daily trips down to the Citadel, down to the Throstle Nest this week, just to see if anything's starting. And I imagine if we get to Friday and nothing has happened, nothing started, there's no spades in the ground, that's be the next big talking point. Because as you say, we read that statement a couple of weeks ago, 2
weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago that statement came out.
Yeah, stating that work was going to start on the pitch in some way, shape, or form this week. The week commencing Monday the 10th. So that's going to be a watch this space. Look, I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get. I'm hoping George Fernley on. I'm hoping maybe get Nathan Atkinson on, and 1 or 2 people in due course. And for the umpteenth time, if anybody is watching this from Farsley Celtic and you want to come on and put the club side across, whether that's Paul Barthorpe himself, whether that's I think Josh is still there involved at board level. Come on. I mean, I've known Josh for on and off for quite a few years from my uni days when I did some volunteer work for Farsley. So if anybody wants to come on and give their side of the story, do so. Get in touch. It's not hard to get in touch with us here.
And the thing is, I think there's obviously 2 sides to the story, and obviously, like I say, we've got to, to an extent, kind of respect that, because again, we haven't heard the full story of everything, and whether we do, we don't know. But it's a cliche to say that football and club are about the fans, but these Farsley fans are going through pretty much unimaginable things that you'd expect as a football fan of your club, where not only are you struggling in the league, and you know that you're probably potentially, I hate saying this, punching above your weight, but they've done it on merit because they've deserved to be in that league based on performances and the football they've played and, you know, the quality that they've had throughout the season. They've done enough to stay in the league, so that's fair. I'm talking about probably the size of a club and where they are compared to others. But as a football fan, we're all football fans, and probably majority who are watching and listening to this are as well. Can you imagine being in a situation where you are travelling an hour and 45 minutes away to play your home games? In a situation where you've been waiting for your home ground to be kind of improved into what it was, you know, supposed to be, which could still be the case, but you've not played a home game this season, I don't think. In that time, you've had to go and play home games at Alfreton. You've had to go play home games at Bradford Park Avenue. You've had to go play home games at Guiseley, and you've had to play home games at Buxton. Trying to think of anywhere else. Can't think off the top of my head yet. And you've seen pretty much 75%-ish of your team leave. You know, good senior pros who have been in that club through the thick and thin. And an off-the-field staff as well. I just, as a football fan, I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. And listen, I've been not in the same situation at all, but you know, I've had debates, haven't I, about Bradford Park Avenue in the past where it's felt, you know, it's been quite a lot of
there's been quite a lot of disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect. That's probably the right word I'm thinking of.
We've had it at City, Luke.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. And you can almost take it as it is at that moment in time as what it is, where you go, this isn't good. I don't like what's happening. We need change.
Yeah.
But this feels very different. This feels like on a scale where people, potentially fans, and I'm seeing this on social media, and again, whether it's true or not, and we can only take Farz's word for it, that's not going to be the case, but they're fearing for the club. They're fearing for their club of where it is at the moment. And listen, Farsley have done some extraordinary things in years gone by. And unfortunately, we've seen Farsley, you know, almost become a new version of himself, kind of right on with Phoenix as to where they are now from where they were. I remember watching him and knowing people, and crikey, I went to uni with one of the lads, Ryan Serrant, who used to play in a conference at that time, and Farsley were flying. And now you see him in this situation where the statements and his communication, like I said, about that. But what we're wanting to see is action. Words can only do so much now, but there seems to be a story every week or nearly every couple of weeks. And I think from a fan perspective, it doesn't seem you don't seem any wise as to what's going on. And like I said, this week you're almost waiting for that spade in the ground, the digger to turn up and actually see that happen. And actually, I think if you're a Farsley fan at the moment, you're probably waiting until the end of March to actually see if that's going to be completed, because you could see a digger and a spade in the ground, but from what's being in their feelings, they just want to see it happen. And listen, I wish them all the best at Farsley. We do, and like I said, we're more than happy to get the Farsley people on. We want to hear the stories and kind of a side of that argument. But at the end of the day, if it's true that Neil Redfern has left the club on Thursday and the club haven't announced it,
that's what I don't get. I
can't
understand that, Luke. Like, because I think you and Chris both corrected me on here a couple of weeks ago when I said about communication, and you were saying, well, communication's actually been all right. But then how can a manager leave and the club not communicate that?
I guess I don't know.
It's not a club, though. It's not a club, though. That's the thing. It's at this moment in time, it's a club realistically only named on paper, unfortunately. Like in the video that the YouTuber did the other week, Ellis Platten. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there was a fan there with him, and he didn't even know hardly any of the players that were playing on that pitch. And that's a fan that goes every week, to watch them. I mean, that's embarrassing. That takes it beyond the pale of football for me. You know, we've seen it with Bury. All right, they've come back in some guys, but it's messing with tradition and history and community and people's livelihoods, and that's what's wrong about it. Forget the football on the pitch. I think we can all handle a relegation. All right, I didn't really handle Towns last season very well, but I think when it comes to sort of expecting what you want from a football club, this isn't a football club for me. It's a club name on paper, and it needs somebody to go in and sort it out. However, that's going to change. But whilst ever this current situation's happening, I mean, God knows how it can get worse. To be honest, but I mean, it can, because the club can just end. But it's not a club for me at the moment, unfortunately.
Well,
and it's sad.
We're going to touch on the final kind of thing on fans that I want to touch on before we move on to the rest of the non-league scene. Is obviously Ellis Platten. There was a lot of talk and a lot of demand, actually. I think off the back of the first video he did, there was a lot of people wanting to do a second one on a follow-up video. He put this out the other day, saying that they are going to do a part 2 on Farsley. It is coming. He just needs some time with it. He says, for the fact that the owner of, so this will be Paul Barthorpe, is claiming that the first video has sunk the club rather than accepting his own issue. Want to make sure we do it right. When we do it right. He followed that up as well with an image, which I think, Lewis, you might be able to help me on this one. I'm going to put it up now. I believe the text that's on that white background is from one of the statements, I believe, from Paul Barthorpe.
I generally don't know, Chris. I generally don't know where this has come from. I've only seen this when I got back from work today.
Well, this is something that Ellis has shared, man. So he's basically, for those listening rather than watching, it states, I offered to meet with Ellis in Grantham or Peterborough, as I believe he lives in or is based in Norwich. And as I live in Chesterfield, this will be roughly halfway. And that is Paul Barthorpe. He is Chesterfield based. To both explain our points of view and to offer the club for sale to him or somebody who he knows might be interested. So far, I've not received a reply from him. To clarify, the club is now for sale, £250,000, and it's yours. Now, his quote tweeted that by also saying, to be absolutely clear, at Farsley Celtic, I have received zero correspondence about this. My email is in my profile bio. Please reach out, Paul. Would love to interview you on the channel. I mean, look, I'm not going to doubt Ellis, because he has the popularity and the fame that if he were to get anything wrong, he knows that he'd have trouble. So I genuinely believe that statement, wherever it's come from, wouldn't shock me if it's one of the many from Paul Barthorpe, or actually possibly from the Supporters Trust meeting that happened last week, I think, as well.
He hasn't sold the club.
The club is up for no, he hasn't sold the club, but the club is up for sale. If somebody,
he hasn't. He hasn't sold the club. Ellis Platten was never going to do anything on Farsley Celtic 5 months ago, and this situation has been. How long has this situation realistically, between our knowledge, gone on for? It's gone on for months and months and months, if not the last year. So it's not sunk the club, has it? There's only one person that sunk the club.
You're talking this season, basically, aren't you? Because obviously it started with them not having the home games, Lou.
I think with that it's hard because listen, I've seen the screenshot of it. I can't determine where it's come from, who it's come from. That's kind of what's been put on social media. There's no real substance to really say that's definitely come from whoever that would be, whether that is Paul Barthorpe or not. I mean, obviously,
if it is.
We can't say 100% that is. For me, you just want to see the club progress. It's as simple as that. And I don't think there's any other opinion about that. And I just desperately feel sorry for the fans who are having to go through this in the moment because they just want to see the club progress. Listen, seeing a YouTube vlog, and it's obviously quite an opinionated piece. I also may be a bit wrong in this, but I'm not here to kind of big somebody else's YouTube video up. Even though he's given he's got the profile to do it. We just want to see the club prosper in whatever way that is. And I think this is the conversation's kind of talking about the second part of the interview. The ultimate thing is we just want Farsley to do well and kind of get back home, get a good playing squad together again, and compete in the competition. They haven't won a game this year yet in terms of 2024, and we're midway through 2025, and we're midway through February. And like I say, players have been leaving. We've seen, quite a number of youngsters come into their 3 subs on the bench for last week. And listen, let's be realistic about this. Needham Market are not a bad side to be in a National League North, but we should not be beating Farsley Celtic 6-1 in a competitive game like this because of the nature of the form and how it's been across this season. Farsley have conceded 64 goals. They've got the worst goal difference in a division. If the results go against them, they could find themselves bottom of the table. But again, this isn't even the narrative about it. The narrative is what is happening at the club to make it succeed. Farsley fans are probably expecting a relegation the way things have been going. They just want to see actions. They don't want to hear words. They don't want to read words. They don't want to listen to words. And I know that we're even going about getting, Mr. Banthorpe or somebody from Farsley. They don't even probably want to hear that. They just want to see action now. They just want to see a spade in the ground at their place and probably see, let's be honest, probably a change to hopefully progress them again. But listen, we could be sat here next Monday and there could be another story about Farsley Celtic, and let's see what happens. But we've put the invite out there. And, we haven't been controversial. We can see both sides because obviously we got to be quite impartial about it. But at the same time, we just feel desperately sorry for the fans having to go through this because football fans and us people who we work hard work hard to wait and enjoy your social life and your football and stuff, and let's be honest, they're probably not at the moment, have they?
No, not at all. More on that next week, no doubt, I imagine. In the meantime, if anyone does go down to Farsley on a daily basis, do let us know whether you see the first spades in the ground or diggers outside the outside Throttle Nest.
Yeah.
Let's turn to the rest of non-league then, and Dave, we'll start, of course, at the top of the non-league pyramid and for FC Halifax Town. A good win on the weekend, a 2-1 win away at Tamworth.
Yeah, we've had two results this week that have almost evened themselves out. We've had a 2-1 defeat that we didn't deserve, and we've had a 2-1 win that we also didn't deserve. So we've sort of had a bit of a, it's just balanced itself out.
Either way, you've come out with 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, Fylde, we should have at the very least got a draw. They were very poor. Nick Horton plus 10 others, basically, and they managed to get a 2-1 win. By all accounts, Sam Johnson won us the game on Saturday. It's just a couple of good saves from the Fylde goalie on Tuesday, and it required Sam Johnson this weekend. Scott High's got his second goal for the club. Both his goals have come against Tamworth, home and away. So Emerson's got his second goal. He seems to be growing into the striker's role now that, fingers crossed, he's over his injury woes. Joe Cummins isn't, having turned a knee on an artificial pitch, or that's rumoured to be what the injury is. People that were at the game have said they've not heard a player in that much pain for a long, long time, if ever. So obviously we're wishing him a speedy recovery. It sounds like he's going to be out for quite a while, though. He just worked his way back into the team in place of Adam Elimier Toro, who didn't have a great game Tuesday. Obviously we have to bring the man who's nicknamed Triple-A on in place of Joe Cummins early on in the second half, I think it were, when they're saying he went down. It wasn't from a tackle or a challenge, so he's obviously twisted or turned or got something stuck in the pitch. Two pretty neat goals, though, at Tamworth. So I mean, I was happy with the goals. There was a consolation goal in the 8th minute of injury time. Obviously, we had that amount because of Cummins' injury. A few people that were there said Ryan Galvin could have maybe been a little bit more sensible. He didn't have the greatest of games Tuesday after I'd heard good reports since he's come back from injury about a month ago. So we've had a win that we didn't deserve, and we've had a loss that we didn't deserve, and it's balanced itself out over this last week since we're on here on Monday. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased. We're still in 6th. Oldham are pulling away, unfortunately. They beat Rochdale. We're one of a few clubs in there. Most clubs around us, as you can see, have played the same amount of games, 29. We've got to really keep an eye on what Rochdale are doing, having only played 26. They are, however, now, it's a little bit like Leeds and Burnley last time I checked the table. It's the psychology of the fact that Rochdale are going to have to win, 2 games to go above us now, in the same way that Burnley now have to win 2 games to get above Leeds, or there needs to be a 2-game swing. They've got those 2 games in hand. I have no doubt that Rochdale will be there. I think I said it months and months ago. I think the top 7 in our league is going to be those teams that you've just shown on that graphic. I don't think there's going to be any shocks. I don't think there's going to be any surprises. Solihull seem to have struggled since they appointed a new manager. whose name I have forgotten, Matt Taylor, the guy who scored from halfway line for Portsmouth. So since they lost Andy Wing, they seem to have, the, in inverted commas, wheels have come off. Altrincham and, well, everybody up the top 7 just continues to pick up points. Altrincham still being, incredibly impressive, as are Gateshead. Gateshead had their own issues last year with the ground. That's something that's lurking in the background for my own club now. Try not get too sidetracked by it. But all in all, I'm happy. It's Southend away tomorrow. It's somewhere that we haven't done too well since they come down into the National League. We've obviously had a good 20, 25-year gap just from the fact that we've been in non-league for that long, But when we were in the league, I don't recall us beating Southend. Our record against Southend away, probably our last win will be 40-plus years ago at the very least. But we haven't played them that often. But
it's a bloody long way for a Tuesday night.
Yeah, it is a lot, like you say, Chris. It's a long way on a Tuesday. I think it may be a rearranged game already. We had a few called off in and around Christmas as usual, and I've lost track of which games are rearranged and which ones aren't. I mean, they beat us 2-0 at the Shea, and a lot of people have said they're the most impressive club they've seen at the Shea this year. Our away record's the second best in the league. It's the best by points per game. Oldham are top on, I think they've got 30 and we've got 29, but they've played a game more. But at home, we're at 18th. We're 18th in a league table. If you just had home results, we'd be 18th, but we're 6th overall. So if we can just get a bit better at home, we'll be in them top 7, not a problem. As long as the away form holds up.
Yeah, just a quick one, Dave. And I think Farsley, Halifax have gone completely under the radar. You mentioned that game against Southend. That is your last loss before the filed game, which was the 30th of November.
Yeah,
which is remarkable for any club to go unbeaten. I know you've had a few postponements, but that is simply remarkable. I know we've reiterated, but for those who have not listened or watched us in recent times before, how good a job is Millington doing? Because I don't want to belittle and kind of downplay, FC Halifax Town as a club in the National League, but for what you're doing with the budget and the players on paper that you've got, in my opinion, he's pound for pound one of the best managers in that league and in probably the division above.
I think the plaudits speak for themselves when, like, you've got Tom Williams and you've got others that are sort of independent non-league writers. Chris Millington's always mentioned. It seems this is his 3rd season. It seems like we get a little bit better every year. We very rarely lose players in January. I think this is the first time somebody's left. I think MILLWALL maybe last year. We don't lose too many people in January. It was MILLWALL last year. It was Andrew Wallawabori this year. So, we've got to credit the club for keeping all the players in January. Sometimes it can come back to burners though, with like contracts that are out of the summer. But in terms of if we just focus on Chris Millington, I think he's doing an excellent job. And it's something I've said numerous times on this, on our video cast. Some supporters, I think, still hold, even though it's now 2.5 seasons ago, I still think some supporters hold his very, very poor start against him. It's just, we've been to Wembley, we've won an FA trophy, we managed to scrape into the playoffs. It's, hindsight's 2020. Had we not had to have played 3 games away from home last year because of the sheer pitch issues, I think we played 4 games in 10 days coming into the Solihull game. Who knows what we'd have done in the playoffs? I were on this very show saying if we turn up, we'll win them. And I thoroughly believed that, back in May. I think we've got slightly better this year. The home form is the only real issue. It tends to be, most clubs are the same. Your positions usually, the backbone of it is you're good at home usually, but we seem to be doing it the other way around. We've gone, I think we've played something like 12 or 13 at home, and it's like 1-4, drawn 4, lost 4, 0 goal difference. It's totally just like level. Whereas away from home, we've won 7, drawn 4, lost 2. Last time we lost away from home with Rochdale, and arguably a draw would have probably been a fair result then. We'd have lost 1 game. Potentially, and that would have been Braintree who got a last-minute penalty. We didn't play well that game by all accounts. We've only lost twice away from home, so he's doing a great job. And things, I don't really know how to put it. Like sometimes you can just feel things sort of piecing themselves together. Like we've got a really good squad. injuries and suspensions permitting, we've got a really good squad. I mean, you've said about it, you know what I mean? We know that the budget isn't great. David Bosworth, when he's spoken publicly, albeit he doesn't as often now, he's never been shy of mentioning that fact. Like, we are a club that take academy players or players that have come out of the league or you know, Premier League academies, and we give them almost a second chance. And it's working more often than not. I can't think of many that we've signed, sort of youngsters where they're not still with the club. There's not many that don't work out. Most of them, you know, like Jamie Cook's, he'll be the next player that we lose, Jamie Cook in midfield. He's improved leaps and bounds this year. And he's gone from being out on loan, let's see what he can do. Then he's played a little bit. Then he's done a full season. Then he's become a first-team player where we miss him when he's injured, like this season. And now he's an integral part of the team. You know, Scott High, totally depends what happens in the summer. If nobody comes in for Scott High, I'd like to think that he's seen enough and we've done enough for him to even have a contract at Halifax. I'm surprised a lower-end League Two team didn't maybe take a punt on him, even if it was somebody like Markham. Surprised somebody at the bottom of League Two hasn't given Scott High a chance. I really think he's going to be a great player, and I think he'll be in the Football League before too long, whether that's with us or with somebody else. They were doing a great job. But as usual, there's the problems in the background regarding the ground. The team are doing fine. Everything's fine on that front. It's what's going on in the background.
Yeah,
And
we've
got no more answers really.
A little bit later on, if we get a chance with that. Let's rattle through the rest of non-league, Lou. We've got a lot to get through and not a great deal of time tonight. So, Lou, into the MPL, Guiseley, they were beaten on the road at Prescott Cables.
Yeah, disappointing loss. Listening to Bow's interview, lost 2-0 there. Just needs to get a bit of form going. Just fallen off a wagon a tiny bit. And obviously with Macclesfield winning and, you know, kind of probably cements them as champions in that league now. But guys, the second, we have played a game more than Ashton, who were third. So Ashton can catch them. But yeah, we've got Ilkeston at home. But 3 losses on a bounce is not really acceptable for, you know, Matt Bauer's team, really. And I'm sure they'll be wanting to get back on it. And Ilkeston, yes, you know, kind of where are they? I think I want to say wherever 6. So it's actually quite a tough game. I thought they were further down.
Yeah.
But yeah, not great, but it's something that they can hopefully pick up again.
Yeah, absolutely. MPL East, the biggest game, probably one of the many Yorkshire derbies at this level, is of course Emily versus Avenue. And Emily, it was Lou that came out on top 3-1.
Yeah, look, there was nothing in the game. Met up with our friends from Emily. We're a fantastic club, really good set of supporters. Obviously, I was kind of there from the Avenue perspective. There was nothing in it first half, nothing at all. It seemed to be kind of just whittling away into a 0-0 kind of game. They scored the first goal. If you want to watch it on YouTube in their socials, it is unreal. Hayden Lindley from 25 yards. Ain't going to hit one better. Superb finish. And then Avenue got reduced down to 10 men just before the break. Not the greatest decision from Keenan Ferguson to bring down a player one-on-one. It's the easiest red card a referee's going to give all year. And once an Avenue went down to 10 men, there was pretty much only one winner, but Avenue did come back into it, got it back to 2-1, put a lot of bodies forward. But yeah, 3-1 to Emily. Probably on overall play, when after down to 10 men, probably fair. I might sound biased with my Avenue tinted glasses on, and I said this to quite a few people who didn't disagree that I think if it was 11 against 11, it could have easily been a draw. But credit to Emily, look, really strong team, been together quite a number of years. Rich Tracy's making some really shrewd signings when he needs to. We're going to be up there fighting for promotion.
Absolutely. Elsewhere in the
great
MPL
to see.
East,
Love it.
Bishop Auckland, they beat Garforth Town. Garforth on the road, they lost by a goal to 0. Liversidge were beaten 2-1 at home in another Yorkshire derby. It was Liversidge 1, Brighouse 2. Brighouse really do need that win, given that situation in the table. And Pontefract Collieries, they were held to a 2-2 draw at home by Ashington. And Ossett United on the road, they lost 1-0 at Stocksbridge Park Steels. What's caught your eye, Lou, in the Northern Counties East this weekend?
Not a great deal, not been a massively successful one, but Eccleshill beating Golka. No. Golka just seems to be slipping away at the moment, but I think Eki beating Golka 2-1's a big one. Campion on the road 2-1. Silson surprising draw against top of the league. Silson against bottom of the league, goal 2-2. But Silson kind of cementing their position at the top with 10 points.
Yeah.
Head of Golker, played one game less. So I think you'd say that Silson are going to probably be up there. And again, 15 unbeaten. Wakefield 1-0 winners against Selby. Having to play, I think, at Nostell due to the Featherstone Rovers ground being taken for Challenge Cup action. Wakefield up into 4th. They are, I think, 15 points behind Horbury. Played 4 games less. It's going to be really tight. It's going to go down to the wire. Is the NCL Division 1?
Yeah, very much so. Wakefield, as we say, are in absolutely superb form. Into the Northwest Counties, just a couple of games this weekend for the sides in our region. Aldswick Town, they got a 2-1 win over Litherland Bremica. I'll say 2-1 there. And then into the First Division North, Garstang beat Steeton by 3-0. And Route 1 Rovers, they were beaten at home by Daisy Hill by 3-2 as well. In a game that really does not help Route 1 Rovers cause at the bottom end in that relegation zone of the First Division North, Low.
Not all. It's not looking great, and I know they've obviously gone through the changes themselves, and they've got ambitions off the pitch to kind of redevelop the ground of where they've been before. So, yeah, it's going to be tight. Steeton, I think, just still above them, so it's pretty much a fight between them. But yeah, unfortunately, I wouldn't say it's looking great for Route 1 at the moment.
Absolutely, that rounds up the non-league. Going to bring Jason Booker into the fold as well. And Jay, I mean, look, you and Gaz, I know you both need to get off, so you kind of need to toss a coin as to who goes first.
Jay's face was brilliant when you brought him in there. Just no idea that you were going to bring him in, and bang, there it is. Booker's on.
I might actually be the busiest man in the world right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, until the very second that you brought me in, I was like still tapping away doing stuff. So I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to go to Gaz if that's okay, just because he also needs to get off and he got here first.
Okay? It's not all about you, Jay.
Yeah, it's all about you, Jay.
I do recognise that, but I have a window of about 20 minutes. So you shoot.
Gaz, Bradford City, cracking form, great win, doing well. Happy days, yeah?
Yeah, we should be enjoying it more than we are, I think, really. Fans are still not enjoying it as much as they should. I just made some notes before I came on. I think we've won 7 of the last 8, 9 of the last 11, and 11 of the last 14. And in that last 14, we've only lost 2. And we've got 7 home wins on the bounce. It's a bit unprecedented for City, really. And I know Jason McEwen's been putting in his match reports that, like, we don't want to get carried away because it's Bradford City and it always goes wrong. But if we can't enjoy this, when are we going to enjoy it? And I know
that's
we're
what
not
football's about, isn't it, Gaz?
Yeah, and I know we're not in the automatics yet. We were briefly a couple of weeks ago. But if we can make it 8 wins on the bounce at home tomorrow, we will go into the top 3 again. I've said a few times that we need to rack up as many points as we can between now and April because April's tough. I think we've got Notts County at home, and then we've got Port Vale away, Donny away. So April's going to be tough, but between now and then, the fixtures look, I know you shouldn't take anything lightly, especially when it's Bradford, but they look kind. So we need to rack up. If we've got ambitions of getting in that top 3, we just need to keep winning. It's as simple as that.
Good to see all the Alexander haters aren't out tonight, isn't it, Gaz?
It is. Can you remember what it was like a couple of months ago? People were actually wanting Alexander out. This is Bradford City. This is what they do. It's bipolar. I say it all the time. We lose 2. If we lose the next 2, they'll be back at it. They will be back at it. It's a bit like Downsy's sort of on the verge of that. We Huddersfield, aren't you? Like fans wanting Duff out. You know, you're in the playoffs. You've just got relegated and you're in the playoffs. Yeah, it's good. I know it's the City event who do a bit of merchandise. Have made a new flag with Alexander the Great on it. It's like,
oh God,
isn't it a bit? That's like tempting fate, isn't it? If you ever going to tempt fate, that's tempting fate. But it's nice to see people being positive as well. On the flip side of that, it's nice to see people enjoying it. So, in a way, you want it to continue. Saturday wasn't the greatest performance. There were times when we played really well, some nice one-touch football, quick movement, good attacking football. There were times when we looked really good. Probably should have been more than 1 up at half time. Second half went on. Harrogate came more and more into it, and we retreated and we retreated and we retreated, and you just felt that if the game went on a bit longer, Harrogate would have scored. Probably because they're a bit of a bogey side of ours, so it was good to get a win in that respect. But yeah, things are going well at the moment, and long may it continue. We've also got to the semi-final of the Virtue Motors Trophy in that run.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I'd say that run's going quite well. But having already had to go to Birmingham once in that run to beat Aston Villa's under-21s, you've now got probably the hardest possible draw to go away to Birmingham City, top of League One.
Yeah, the way they're playing at, they're obviously the highest ranked team left in the competition. Skeptics amongst the City fan base were saying that the draw was always going to keep Wrexham and Birmingham apart, and it did. But on the flip side of that, I'm quite happy because I've booked to go to Bromley away, which is a rearranged game from earlier in the season when Bromley got through in the FA Cup and our away game had to be moved. And if we'd have drawn Wrexham because they're around behind everybody else, or Wrexham or Bolton, as it were, the Bromley game would have been moved again. So I'd have lost money on my train and my hotel and that. So I'm kind of relieved that we've not got Wrexham or Bolton.
Selfish. That's what that is.
Kind of relieved on that score. But we got to the semi-finals last year. Should have beaten Wickham. Should have got to Wembley. Conceded late on, totally against the run of play. Travesty of a result, really. So I'm not holding out much hope because it's Birmingham. But at the end of the day, if we can repeat that performance from last season, we've got a chance.
City's going up, guys. It's all about the league.
Let's move on to tomorrow night. And tomorrow night could be a help if City had to go up. Obviously, Accrington and Stanley struggling at the wrong end of League Two. You better say this fairly quietly, I guess, since you live in Aki instead. It should be another victory for the Bantams, but equally one of those results that you're probably a little bit worried about because historically, anyway, you rarely beat the teams you should.
Yeah, that's Bradford City, as you know, Chris. We play better against the good teams normally and struggle against the ones down at the bottom. Someone was putting on that Accrington's away form's actually quite good. I haven't seen the away form table, but I noticed some people on Twitter saying that Accrington's away form's better than the home form. I do think that the thing that worries City fans at the moment as well is that Alex Patterson and Anthony Sarcevic have been really key to this run that we're on since they both came back to fitness. And I think Graham Alexander knows that as well, and he's really trying to manage the minutes. They're playing like in the Virtue Motors Trophy, they both played 45 minutes each. He's dropped them to the bench at times when we've had 2 games a week. If we have both of them two on the pitch at the same time, we'll probably, if we could do that every game till the end of the season, I'd be optimistic. But because we're playing twice a week and they've both had injury issues, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them don't play tomorrow night. At least one of them don't play tomorrow night, or he's only on the bench tomorrow night. I think we are going to have to make changes. Graham Alexander said that while we're playing 2 games a week, which I think is going to be the case for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to have to rotate, and that's going to be the issue. When we've got them two on the pitch at the same time, like I say, we've got as good a chance as anybody of making that top 3. But yeah, we're going to have to rotate because of their injury issues, and they're our 2 best players, and they've been key to what we're doing at the moment. And then obviously Romany Critchlow as well, who's come in. He's not played a lot of football lately, but he's just played 2 games in a week. This will be his 3rd game in 8 days, so I could imagine him possibly being rested tomorrow night. So yeah, we're going to make changes, and that could cost us the need to make changes, but we shall see. Like I say, when everyone's on the pitch at the same time, I think we've got as good a chance as anybody.
You've got the squad. That's what your squad's there for, mate.
That's true. It's one that I would look at for the both teams to score, Gaz, if you want something on Accrington. They have scored at least once in each of their last 11 away league outings, which is their joint longest run in the Football League, which dates back to 2017-18. So, look, you'll be looking at a 2-1 win maybe rather than a 2-0.
Fingers crossed, Chris. Let's hope. Jack Shepherd's been playing in the middle of the back 3. He's been moved from the left-hand side of the back 3, and that's been quite big as well because he's been really good in the middle. But if Critchlow needs to be rested tomorrow night, I can see Jack Shepherd going back to the left-hand side and Paul Huntington coming in to play in the middle, so that maybe disrupt us a little bit as well. So there's a few iffy things to think about tomorrow night. It's not something that I'm really, really confident about, but it's a game that we need to win if we've got ambitions of the top 3.
And as for Saturday as well, away at Newport County, again, another side that, 17th as it is, so kind of middle of the road sort of League 2 side this season.
Yeah, just repeat everything I just said about the Aki game, Chris. It's exactly the same as what we've just talked about. It is literally the same game, and it's the same issues with squad rotation and needing to mix the team up when you, like I say, if we were playing 1 game a week and we could play Sarcevic and Patterson on the pitch at the same time, would be great, but we're probably not going to be able to do that in every game. And I also noticed that Newport put 3 past Crew, which was a bit of a shock result. They were away at Crew and won 3-0.
They put 6 past
Say
MK
again, mate.
Dons. They put 6 past the MK Dons only a few weeks ago as well.
Right. So there you are. It just shows what a crazy division it is. Newport down at the bottom, and they're doing that to MK Dons and Crew.
You say it's the same as the Eccleston game. You're forgetting, though, that Newport County do boast the almighty Kyle Hudlin in their ranks.
Well,
so
he scored against us at Valley Parade as well.
He did. It was a great header as well. It was a great header. Well, fingers crossed for City. Anyway, tomorrow night against Accrington, and of course at the weekend away at Newport. Jay, we'll get on to Leeds
Thanks,
United.
See you later.
Cheers, guys. Thanks
Cheers,
for coming
guys.
on, mate. Jay,
Just before we talk Leeds United,
go on.
I'm guessing that you've covered the Neil Redfern news before I've come on.
Yeah,
I've just
well,
seen
go on,
it.
Please
What?
do have a say.
I mean, I don't want to talk about it for long. No, we ain't got time. But what on earth is going on at that club? And we are getting towards the point now where the Football League, not the Football League, sorry, the league need to do something. Like they're killing a club. There's a club literally dying in front of your eyes there. There is something seriously wrong in the background there, and they need to catch on of it, because otherwise they're going to have a club completely liquidate and fold.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, we made a play earlier on before you joined us, Jay. To be fair, as we often do. Just if anyone from a fantasy perspective wants to come on, and let's just repeat that now. If anyone from a fantasy perspective wants to come on, they are more than welcome to get in touch. It doesn't have to be live on the evening show.
Yeah.
You can pre-record something and put it out. But the invitation is always there. And obviously, as to be fair, Jay, it kind of works with Neil Redfern having all those Leeds links. But the fact that obviously he was rumoured to have quit last Thursday. Obviously, the Telegraph and Argus and the BBC Leeds have been in touch with him today, and he's confirmed that. The fact that nothing has come out from the club still is in itself bonkers.
Yeah. So I'm sorry to drop that one on you, but I've literally just seen it while guys were chatting there. I was scrolling Twitter, and
That's how busy you have been today. Clearly.
Yeah, literally not seeing that. So yeah, apologies.
On to Leeds then. You weren't overly asked about the FA Cup anyway, were you?
No, genuinely, I'd got over the result about 10 seconds before the game had finished. Like the game had not finished, and I was kind of like, meh, okay, it's on to the next one. From the word go on kickoff, you're making 10 changes to a side, and you're leaving in your captain only and Ethan Ampadu. The rest of the side has changed. Whether that team on paper is good enough to win that game or not is irrelevant. It tells you about the priorities. The facts is that Farke's system is very much about partnerships all across the pitch, the fluidity between all of them partnerships. You make 10 changes and that fluidity is gone. You had a lot of players that will never start games for Leeds United this season unless there was a serious injury crisis. Chambers came in at number 10, 17-year-old, did very well, by the way, very, very good player. But he's not, he doesn't even make a match day squad most of the time. Gulvog is not going to be starting games week in, week out. And after seeing him against Harrogate at centre-back and now centre midfield against Millwall, he'd probably be better off just staying as the cheerleader on the bench, unfortunately for him. Nice guy, great guy, but he's past it. He's completely past it. And there was others as well, he
was brilliant in his Wolfsburg days.
Yeah,
he was.
I mean, he were lucky to see the game out. He probably should have been sent off first half. If you've not seen the challenge, it were a bad one. He went over the ball, caught him low. If it had been any higher, he'd have been sent off for absolute sure. If VAR had been involved, he'd have been sent off, I think, as well. Just not malice, just slow and clumsy. And there were others in and amongst that side, but the flip side of that, there were some starters within that team or players that some fans and some of the fan base have said should be starting week in, week out that didn't impress. I think of Matteo Joseph, I think of Ramazani, Nonto, Pascal came back in and I thought had a bit of a stinker. Interesting game on the face of it. But not one that I'm overly concerned about. And, we've got a massive game tomorrow where, I can totally and utterly understand why 10 players were rested, given the fixture pile-up. After today, you're not going to see me or Brownie for 2 Mondays because we play Tuesday. Then
What a shame. What a shame.
We don't play at the weekend. You muted, Chris.
I really hope that's not the case because I'm not around next Monday, so Brown needs to be here to host the show.
Well, it won't be because we've got.
It's free hosting. Wonderful. I can talk about.
I think we'll give it to Lou somehow. Now,
yeah, we'll give it to Lou.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening.
It is.
I think
I'll fight you for it. I'll fight you.
We have got a massive month of February, and not that I want to skip over any questions that you might have, Chris, about the FA Cup game, and please do fire them back to me. But in terms of what we've got coming up, we've got a huge month of February where I think basically our season could well be defined. I think we'll do enough to get over the line regardless. But Watford tomorrow night, big game. Sunderland next Monday, massive game at home. Sheffield United the Monday after away, and then finishing off the end of February, it's the 1st of March, it falls on West Brom at home. That is massive, especially the Sunderland Sheffield United game. So I can totally understand why Daniel Farke rotated the side.
Imagine if you lost all three.
I know.
Sorry, I'm just having like the beautiful image of the meltdown.
The meltdown would be spectacular. But the facts is people want to kind of like make up this. Like I've had some Leeds fans say, "Oh, we always finish the season badly." Well, we don't, because 2 out of the last 5 seasons we've actually finished the season well. That's why we got promoted. And then the first season up, we won 9 of the last 11. So it just don't make it's just not reality. The facts is that this team and this season is very different to last season. We've got a completely different squad on the face of it, really, and the options that we've got available to us. I think we get through February with 10 points out of them 15. 9 points out of them 12, or 10 points out of them 12. I think this season would be almost wrapped up. If it is bad, then it's a different question. But I'm not worried about it. I'm excited for the games, to be honest. I'm looking forward to them.
I mean, Ben's a Town fan. He's going early with the taxes and Leeds falling apart again. It hasn't happened yet. It might not happen.
Yeah, like I say, we don't always do it, because otherwise we wouldn't have got promoted. So it's just football, isn't it? Like, things happen towards the end of every season. We've got the best squad, we've got the best team, we've got the best manager. So I don't see any reason why the form should curtail. Like at the end of the day, we lost it in the FA Cup. Without that, it's 14 unbeaten since November. And when we lost at Blackburn away, we've lost 3 games in the league all season. And most weeks we don't look like losing at all. We've lost 3 games all season, 1-0. If we score first, we've won 24 out of the last 25, I think it is. Something ridiculous like that anyway. We've not lost away from home after taking the lead since before Bielsa. You know what I mean? So, like, we are pretty spectacular when it comes to controlling games, when we go in front. So
I've started something now. Ryan's response there for Ben. Let's just focus a little bit on tomorrow then. Watford away. Obviously, Watford have been... I mean, they started superbly. I think the surprise of everyone. Then, of course, they're going to have dropped away a little bit. There was bloody rumours of Tom Cleverley being axed. They put a statement out saying that's not the case. He'll be in charge for, I think it was the Coventry game at the weekend when that all happened. Since then, they've been, well, just a stop-start, really. I don't think they've, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've picked up any points since then. But against Leeds and at Vicarage Road, always that rare chance of, obviously, sides turning up to perform.
They took a massive point against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light at the weekend. I would actually say that Watford are the best side that we've seen at Ellen Road this season. In terms of the performance on the day, genuinely, they played really, really well. We took a really early lead. We actually took a really early 2-goal lead in that game. I think we'd scored twice in the first 6 minutes, and you kind of thought this is going to be a rollover. It felt a bit like what the Cardiff game did. Obviously, it came before the Cardiff game, but it set up like that. But then Watford really grew back into the game. In the second half, there were good value for getting back into the game. They scored early in the second half, and it were a tight game. It were a really tight game, and we were relieved almost to kind of get over the line. We still deserve to win the game, but out of the games at Ellen Road, they really, really give us some scares. So I don't think this is a foregone conclusion. I think in terms of the way that they set up, they are very, they are kind of like our nemesis because they're very physical. All of the players are big. They've just got big units all over the pitch. And we've got a few diminutive footballers who are a little bit more technically gifted, but maybe not as physically as good as some of their bigger boys. And I think that they're a perfect side to kind of give us all sorts of problems. So tomorrow is not a foregone conclusion. I wouldn't be unhappy with taking a point. I know a lot of Leeds fans would because of the Sheffield United, Sunderland games that then follow them. But I actually feel more comfortable and confident against Sheffield United away and Sunderland at home than I do Watford away. So it's a funny one. Yeah, it is a funny one. Sheffield United at home, as an example, we walked over them. I mean, most of you watched that game. We completely controlled that game. We were totally dominant. Sunderland away, we found ourselves behind, came back to be winning 2-1 before Meslier threw the ball in the net in the last second. We deserved to win both of them games comfortably. We obviously beat Sheffield United and we didn't quite against Sunderland, but Watford is a bit of a banana skin for me. I'd be delighted if we got over the line with 3 points tomorrow.
Well, we'll see how it goes, Jay. Thanks for popping on.
No problem.
And
up the boys, matching on together.
Get you on at some point because we need some Leeds representation on the show without just yours and Brownie's shows yourselves.
Yeah, me and Brownie will definitely do the review tomorrow. I would have thought. Maybe we could jump on at halftime during the game like we did the week before, but that will be for the next two because there's no way that either of us are going to be missing them 2 games. They're both massive games.
I'm saying it again. Watch-alongs.
No watch-along.
Game and get to do this at the same time.
The problem is my TV's behind me, so I'd be like, no. It'd
be like watching you, like being like on Soccer Saturday at a ground somewhere. You just
get a mirror
around and look at what's happening.
Get a mirror to watch it. There you go. There's problem solved.
Did we clarify?
Also, Gogglebox, brilliant.
Gogglebox.
See you soon.
Did we clarify on the Huddersfield section whether you were missing Helic or what?
We haven't done
Helic. We haven't done it yet. Right, okay. I'll
Bye, Jay. Bye.
It got bumped to next week because you were here instead.
Thanks, everybody, Jay, for coming on. See you later. Right.
Oh, that is uncomfortable.
There's a time and a place for that, Downsy. You need to know the timing.
The timing was great.
I'll catch it and I'll see you cry about him. So yeah.
See you later.
Yes. So thank you, boys.
Right.
Cheers, Jay. Thanks, mate.
What an annoying person he is. Right, carry on.
This is feeling very loose tonight, boys. Very loose.
let's quickly try and turn our attention to Huddersfield.
It will be quick.
I mean, I guess the starting point is the league table, just 2 points inside the playoffs now. Down to after that goalless draw against Reading. Yeah,
Michael Duff in his post-match analysis with Radio Leeds, Paul Ogden said made a bit of a comment to say that he was still alive after the game. I certainly was alive. I wasn't awake, but I was alive. The amount of chances that we supposedly created, it skewed towards the statistics. Sorry, I've said that word too much tonight. Statistics, we should have won the game. We didn't. We had more possession. We had more shots on goal. We had more shots off goal. We had more attacking play. We had more accurate passes. We had more passes overall, more block tackles, more defensive tackles. I mean,
you did, but 16 shots, but only 5 of them on target isn't exactly going in your favour.
No, it's not. But the point is, we still have more. We still have more of them than Reading. But the problem
Congratulations, you had more shit shots.
Yep. And you've sworn on air. I agree. We had more not very good shots, but none of them went in. And that's the point. The quality is not there.
Very good.
Yeah, that's true. You're laughing about it. I know I was there to watch it, mate. I could have played in the game and done better. That's the point. There's just no quality there, and it's just so depressing when you come out of the ground and it's just like, I mean, bloody hell, Reading was shocking. Like, they're 8th in the league or whatever they are, and they're just crap.
They were. To be fair to them, they were decimated of the better players in January. Sam Smith obviously went, Tyler Bindon went as well.
I agree, but they're still crap, Chris. They were rubbish. I mean, yeah, it was just soulless. That's what it was. It was a soulless game. It was like going to the cupboard and getting cereal and the box is empty. That's what it was.
We've not had one of them analogies in a few weeks.
We haven't.
No,
and
I just thought I'd bring it out for you, Lou, because you sat
Who
back
puts
and
the empty cereal box back? Apart from psychopaths.
Freddie Ladapo, mate.
I mean,
That's got to go. Yeah, it's just depressing, Chris.
Can anyone?
I'll be
Because you haven't
honest.
scored at home in 2025, have you?
No, we haven't.
God, that's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't
Yeah.
scored at home in 2025. Like I said, in most of the games, if you go back throughout the game, throughout most of the games so far in 2025, we have dominated the play. But it means absolutely nothing. We've come off that good run. You know, we're now back in it's not a crisis run, but it is a bad run. And there's pressure on. The injuries haven't helped. You know, Ruben Ruskin, who we bought in January, is out till the end of the season. Matty Pearson has hurt his calf and he's now out again for another 6 to 8 weeks. We've got Radulovic that's been sent out on loan. Freddie Ladapo can't play because he's just not very good.
When did Radulovic go out on loan? Was that before deadline day, or was it just after? Because the Dutch deadline, I know, was after the English one.
Yeah, it was just after the English deadline ended. So he's gone out on loan for the rest of the season to the top tier of Dutch football.
As I said, you watch him get 10 to 15 goals before shooting Sittard now. It'd be just typical, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just typical, mate. But Joe Taylor's out with an injury. You know, Dion Charles is obviously not very well. I know you're loving it, but it's not very well.
Like, is he getting closer? Is it getting better? Is he out for the season?
Well, I should hope it's getting better. Yeah. Do you want to give it a rub? No, in terms of, I think it's a couple of weeks. Exactly. That's for you. Yeah. No. Obviously, Dion Charles as well isn't firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, it's just the only positive from Saturday, realistically, was that David Kasumu came back, who's been a big miss in midfield, and we didn't concede. Those were the positives.
And you took a point, I guess.
Yeah, but point weren't good enough. We needed to win.
Yeah, what I'm saying, it could have been worse. Could have lost.
Yeah, I could have lost, but yeah, we drew, and it was crap. We needed to win. So we're against Barnsley at the week.
You're having a meltdown again, Downsy, mate.
I'm not having a meltdown. Having a meltdown, mate. If I was having a meltdown, I'd be saying get Duff sacked, wouldn't I? But that's not my opinion at all. There is a fans forum tomorrow where the hierarchy is answering some questions, probably better ones, and we'll see what responses we get out of that, because there might be some interesting comments from that. And then we've got Barnsley on Saturday, a tough Yorkshire derby. We don't really get results at Barnsley.
Yeah.
The last time that we got a good result was, I think, 2012 when Simon Church knocked one in from 2 yards out.
Barnsley are, I think, winless in the last 5 or 6. I think
they've
lost the last 4, haven't they? They've been on, because again, Barnsley were one of those sides that are in the playoffs, have hit a really bad patch of form and have dropped, as you can see on the table, to 10th.
Yeah, well, the two clubs below us that are really like packing in some wins now is Leyton Orient and Charlton Athletic. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Charlton keep the playoff place. Bolton obviously have got Stephen Schumacher in now, who's a good manager. I read enough all the way because they've got the best players gone. But yeah, I think it's Leyton Orient, Charlton and Bolton that are on our tails now, and obviously Stockport's just gone above us. So, no, I'm not having a meltdown. Like, it could be better, it could be worse, but it needs to get better if we want to earn promotion. Top 2's gone now for me. Playoffs.
Well, this is the thing. It seems like a mad situation that we've gone from, with a week or so of the transfer window to go, if not slightly earlier. I think we were talking about Town, and over time you were still fairly confident that the top 2 could have been attained. But as it is, because of the form that's gone on in those last 3 weeks or so, 3-4 weeks, it is what it is. So you're now down to 10 points behind Wickham, who, in fact, Wickham you beat, at the start of just before this bad run.
Yeah, for the form and the injuries have killed us, and that's why we'll only get playoffs. But even that's looking dodgy at the moment. So, let's see where we are in a month's time.
They need to beat Barnsley for the breathing space, because if they lose, it really is.
Oh yeah,
Big game
we
in a
need
game
to.
like that.
We need.
Yeah.
We need to go on a 3-4 winning streak, Dave. To be honest, like
Yeah.
draws are no good. We need to win 3 or 4 in a row, and get back on the horse and create a little bit of a gap between us and those chasing, because those chasing now are definitely smelling blood.
And your other half's a Barnsley fan, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a big Barnsley fan, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of stick on Saturday if Barnsley beats 3-0. So thanks for that, Chris.
And that's not just from the group chat either. So
No,
we'll see what the weekend brings. Cheers, Downsy, for filling us in on Huddersfield Town. Any other business, gents, before we wrap up and get ourselves away?
no, let's go have a whiskey and a beer and cheer up a bit.
Drink responsibly, everyone.
Yeah, that's a strong combination, Downsy. Christ.
Yeah.
Let's end it on that in that case. Yeah, other drinks are available. Big thank you, though, to Stephen Downs, Dave Foy, Lewis Sale, and, of course, to Gareth Walker and Jason Booker, who joined us a little earlier on. Jay and Brownie will be back with the Leeds United review after the Watford game. Anything planned midweek for you, Dancer?
No.
There we go.
In a word.
And we'll see what the weekend brings for our side. Big thank you to everyone who's got in touch with the comments as well across YouTube and X. Don't forget, if you don't already, you can subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Give us a follow on X. And we are also on Facebook as well. The West Yorkshire Football Show is all you need to search, and we will pop up there. Thanks for joining us this evening. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night, and we'll see you soon here on the West Yorkshire Football Show.
Up the Hornets.